Okay, let's take a more in-depth look at the project creator and see how powerful and flexible it really is. Let's go. Right, first up, filming mode. This lets you make it impossible for contributors to film at the wrong angle. We can lock it to portrait or landscape. Each has their pros and cons. We go through a few here. Generally landscape's going to give you more flexibility, but you can basically make it impossible for people to film the wrong way, and that's a big deal. So yeah, we'll set it for landscape for now. Next up, when your contributors use the app, by default, the clips they film get saved onto their camera roll on their phones as well as within the app. You might want to disable that for various reasons, and you can do so here. Okay, so next, the overview, which is basically your project brief given to the person doing the filming, to your contributor or contributors. So, you'll put your name in, and then you can give an overview of what you're asking depending on the video you're trying to make. Now, you've got control here and flexibility. If someone's doing this for the first time, if they're a bit uncertain, you might want to add a lot of detail in here. If they know what you're doing, you can keep it brief. So let's say we're doing an employee spotlight, I might write something like this. And you can add tips about the overall project here if you want to. So maybe we say, don't worry about being perfect, the clips are sent back to us and we'll do the editing, because after all, that is what happens. The idea with Captain is to put as little pressure on the contributor as possible. They are not responsible for making the final product. You are, as the project manager. So done. Okay, so next up is let's hear from. That's where you set up your interview tasks. So let's set up a really basic interview now. Okay, let's imagine we're sending this project and the story code to one person, and that's Phil. But we want Phil to interview Jane. We'd put Jane's name in here. And, you can put in specific tips for, make sure Jane is wearing a uniform or whatever, and then you'd add the questions that you want Phil to ask, as many as you want. But let's say you wanted Phil to actually do a selfie interview first. You might do this. Tips, that could just be big smile please, whatever, and then you'd add the questions that you wanted Phil to answer in selfie mode. You see what I mean? Because then maybe those are done, then you could go and get Phil to interview Jane. Then you can go and get Phil to interview Devinder. You can get one person to do as much, or as little as you want. You can get that one person, hey, do a selfie interview, then go and interview 10 other people. You're turning that person then into your own little personal camera crew. So look, let's set this up. Selfie interview. Rest the phone on a surface is a good tip. And we give you some, info about good tips to have here. So then it's just a case of setting up your questions. As we say there, the great opener is always, please introduce yourself, tell us what you do. And you can add a filming prompt for each question if you want to. So that could be, please start your answer with, hi, my name is. Next, tell us what you love about your job. We'll assume they love their job. And finally, tell us about the main challenges you face. It's good to talk about challenges, right? And in fact, we'll add a little prompt to help with that. Be honest. So there you go, a simple interview, no crew needed. You can have as many questions in here as you want. You can have as many interview tasks in here as you want, as we just saw. You could use one project to get one person to interview 10 people all in the same office. Or you could send one project and that story code out to 50 people, wherever they are in the world, and all that video content that comes back, you can turn it into as many final videos as you want. Power and flexibility, it's really cool. Okay, so let's film. It's basically what we call cutaway shots or B-roll. And this is the same as we've just done, except instead of requesting questions to be answered, you're requesting shots. This is where you direct contributors to film stuff that's going on, which you can then use in your videos. This is super important because you can be specific about what you want. If you leave it up to people to do this on their own, A, they won't do it, and B, if they do it, they'll do it wrong or they won't do enough, trust me. So let's sort that out. So what do you want to film? Again, this can be anything. We'll go with the classic, film your team at work. It's good to film action, things happening. An overall tip, why not? Make sure everyone is wearing their uniforms. Now the shots you request can be as basic or as simple as you like. It might be as easy as just going, get a shot of your team at work, and another, and another. But when it really gets powerful is when you think about specifically what you're after and you direct someone to do it. You basically become Steven Spielberg, but with an app, kind of, yeah? So you could have, get a shot of Devinder working at his station. And then get even more specific, get a shot of Devinder's hands as he works. And then why not get a shot of Devinder smiling as he works? So you just built a sequence there. And no way would your average person film all that stuff if you just left them to it or left it vague. No way, Jose. When you put that together, it's going to be a really nice video. If you combine it with an interview, you're off to the races. See how easy this is? No creative thought required from the contributor, no uncertainty. We're doing all the work here, and that work, as it turns out, is a piece of cake. So boom, again, you can have as many tasks in here as you want. Let's get them to film the main office. then we'd add our shots, as many as we wanted. Why not get them to film the company branding? Boom, there you go. That is how you can turn anyone connected to your organization into your own personal camera crew. Set up the tasks, get them to do them, they all come back easy. So close those up. Then you've got to decide on a story code for your project. Remember, this is what your contributors are going to enter into the Capture Captain app to unlock all the filming tasks that we just set up. Keep it simple, keep it memorable. It defaults to what you called your project, which was test in this case. So I'm going to call this now Spotlight. So once I've decided on this, it can't be changed, but I can make changes to the project itself. I can alter the questions, I can add more tasks, but the code remains locked after this point. So I would hit continue, and that's it. So there you go. Close this video up, go and start your own project, set up some cool filming tasks, get stuck in, man. Go and tell whatever story you want. There's no more limits. I'll see you there.